How Raven Got His Crooked Nose. An Alaskan Fable. Retold by Barbara J. Atwater and Ethan J. Atwater. Illustrated by Mindy Dwiner.
"Slow down, child," said Grandmother. "It is better to take your time and do things right. Do you know the story of how Julian the raven got his crooked nose?"
Granddaughter shook her head.
"No, then sit and I will tell you a sukdu. Once, Julian had a very straight nose. He thought it was quite handsome. He was able to do many things with his straight nose. But Julian was a trickster, and sometimes he did things that were not wise. Sometimes they got him in trouble. One day, Julian sat above a creek. Things had not gone as planned. Now he was suffering from a bad injury.
"How long have I been sitting here?"
Julian ruffled his feathers. He was beginning to feel better. Then Julian remembered.
"My nose! My poor nose! What am I to do?" "But how did Julian lose his nose?" asked Granddaughter.
"He would never say, my dear. Maybe he was too embarrassed," answered Grandmother. Julian noticed the birch tree he sat in. He peeled off a curly piece of bark and placed it where his nose had been. When he really thought about it, Julian did know where his nose was. Even though he often acted silly, Julian had a way of knowing things. He had special powers. Yes, he knew where his nose was, but how would he get it back? The bubbling creek below Julian flowed into a lake. A small village was nestled on the hillside above it. While Julian was thinking, a cheetah from the village walked to the beach to gather driftwood for her fire. As she reached for a piece of wood, she noticed something.
"Yadadi! What is this?"
Brushing off the sand, she examined Julian's nose. This will make a good tool." And so she tucked it into her Uleska. Cheetah found Julian's nose useful for many things. She used to clean the side of a bowl of nivagi, her favorite dessert. She used it to scrape her squirrel skins to make them soft and clean, ready for sewing. She used it to take the scales off salmon before she filleted with them. Yes, Julian's nose was a wonderful tool. Cheetah used it so often, it was beginning to look a bit worn. Julian knew Cheetah had his nose, but he didn't know where she kept it. He had to find a way to get inside Cheetah's home to get his nose back.
"How will I do that?"
Julian ruffled his feathers and made a decision. He needed to be in human form. With his special powers, he did just that.
"What else can Julian do?" asked Granddaughter.
"You will see," said Grandmother. Next, Julian found a beach near the village. He drew pictures on the sand. One, then another, and another, and another. Using his powers, Julian spoke to his drawings.
Be alive!
A breeze rippled over the drawings and made them round and lifelike. Eyes opened and fingers moved. Arms lifted, knees bent. They murmured to each other. Then all at once they stood upright. Julian called to them.
Follow me.
The group walked towards the village.
Make lots of noise.
Julian wanted to scare the villagers into running away. It worked. They did scare the villagers away. Cheetah ran away too. Julian knew he did not have much time, for his magic did not last long. His sand drawings would disappear soon, and the villagers would return. He looked near the bowl of Nivagi. His nose was not there. He looked in the pile of squirrel skins. His nose was not there. He looked on the table with the salmon fillets. His nose was not there. As Julian rushed around Cheetah's house, his magic began to run out. Where was his nose? The villagers were returning. Cheetah was close. At last Julian spotted the Alaska. Inside he found his nose. Just in time, Julian jammed it back into his face and flew away. Julian was so happy to have his nose back. Well, Julian got his nose back, but if you look carefully, you will notice something a little different. It had become soft and worn from Cheetah's use. Because he was hurrying, Julian did not notice, and because of his rush, he jammed it back without a care. This is why Julian has a crooked nose. It is always best to take our time and do things right. We may not get a chance to fix our mistakes, said Grandmother. Just look at Julian. He still lives with a crooked nose.
Dakwid Yuk. And that is what happened. Denina Glossary. Cheetah, grandma or old woman. Chinun, thank you. Julian, raven. Dakwidyuk, and that is what happened. Ku ed usiza, mouth, snout, or beak. The traditional use of nose in the story is a personification of the raven. Nivagi, a favorite dish made with a mixture of fresh berries and bound together with a creamed mixture of shortening, sugar, and water or milk. Suktu, a story. Ukisa, a small sewing bag that women carried like a purse. Yadadi, what is it? Thank you. Like and subscribe down below.